Hey everyone, I still working today. Today I'm working a little longer. It's a longer day for me. We started going through this upright to do the regulation class this morning, and turns out we have to add lead to the backs of the keys in order for the key to reset all the way so that the action mechanism can work properly. It's not a typical thing that I have to do on uprights, but today we do. So anyway, welcome, and if for any and all of you who tuned in to the content this morning, thank you. Hopefully we present something that kind of helps you improve. I find that whether you're fed the best information or not, or even correct information, sometimes any chance I get to just sit there and kind of contemplate how the mechanism works and think about it and take time for continuing education, it's always helped me. And so anyway, I'm going to install these leads in the drill, which if you've followed any other content, you've seen maybe some of this on another piano that I was working on. But essentially we went and we did samples throughout the scale of how much weight was needed and where, what size of weight and where it needed to be on the lever to balance things correctly. And I was shooting for just balance correctly where the back of the key will drop freely. And on this upright piano, given that the design is not, the original design is not lending itself to working very well, this is an improvement on that. And so I'm not too picky with this piano of perfect evenness of weighting on the front weights and back weights, or rather the down weights and up weights of this piano. I'm not going for perfect. I'm going for that the piano works a lot better. Given the cost of the piano, this isn't a customer's piano. This is just a piano we were demonstrating on. It belongs to a family member of mine, and this will be a great improvement. Even if it was a customer's piano, I'd still tell them if I'm going to regulate it, I have to do this. So I think it'll be good. But anyway, once we kind of got like a leading pattern, so we would take a sample from one side going left to the other side, and then we would basically connect the lines. So if you look underneath, we've made blue lines and red lines, okay? And it's different for the white keys versus the sharp keys, because look, they're just two different size levers, aren't they? One is a much longer lever than the other. Even if we line it up, they're just different, right? Different ratios there going on. So you need kind of different leads. So we did a color-coded pattern on the bottoms of the keys, so I can just follow that pattern and know where on the key I want to drill to insert my lead. We just arbitrarily picked a color for there's two different sizes we're dealing with, the extra small leads and then the large leads. And I'm going to double check that my drill bit size is correct for these leads, because someone else chose out my drill bits for me. Mark did, and that one's great for the small. And let's check for the large. This should be the one, and indeed it is, okay? There's one tool though that I'm missing from my setup here that I need to grab, but we can do that after I drill. So basically now all that's left is, what we would do is we'd take out the sharps out of the pattern. So we'd have just the naturals and the sharps. We would clamp them together, turn them over, and then I just had to connect the dots from my samples. Then we do it for the sharps, and we do it kind of by section. So now that we're done with that, it's just left to drill through. So let's set up the drill for we're going to go with the small leads first. It doesn't matter which one we start with in this case. So I'm going to chuck this bit in. And I can see the comments. I do have them, but I don't have them right here next to me. I'll bring up the stream on my phone so that I can see that, I guess. This is probably the best way to deal with that. Okay, so we've got that bit chucked in there. This drill bit is, I want to say 3/8 of an inch. So I do want to set the proper speed for drilling that size of a hole. I'm gonna go at 2300 RPMs. That's where it's set, except someone forgot to tension it, right? So we should have our light, and this should be, yeah, that looks like a great speed for that. Okay. Let me get my safety goggles on. That's what I'm missing. So there isn't a whole lot of difficulty in drilling these if you have a sharp drill bit. I've identified a bit that's readily available to me. These are just a Forstner bit. They're pointed on the top in the center, and then it just scoops out a hole, right? It's just real nice for centering and all that. I've got this 1/2 inch for the large leads and 3/8 inch for the small leads. So they're only different by 1/8 of an inch. But these cut like butter through anything, and that greatly speeds up my work. I don't get any scorching of the wood or anything like that, and it's a real clean hole. So having a sharp drill bit's number one. And then number two is going to be drilling to a point. This is what I like to do anyway. I'm going to raise this up here. So being close to your work is a good key for good consistency and whatnot. So we only need a little bit of gap there, and that's just fine. And this free-floating block here can help me put the key wherever I want to and then come down. Now I only want to come down. The way I like to put these leads in, I like to not drill totally through the wood. I like to leave a small wafer of wood on one side, and hopefully it's going to be long enough with the width of these keys to still go in all the way. It looks like it'll be just fine. Yeah, so we shouldn't have any clearance problems with the key or anything. But let's check this out here. Let me get on the stream here, and I can kind of join the chat with you, hopefully. All right, let's see here. Okay, there we are. And gotta get through my ad here. There, I'm live on the chat. Oh, Elikim is back. Thanks for joining again. So you're saying you couldn't see the markings under the keys. I'd be happy to show those close up. Let me grab the camera here. So, now we took this like by section, right? Because the keys are shaped a little differently. So what we ended up doing here, so these were our samples, right, that we determined our initial pattern. It doesn't matter that they're unglued now because we made marks right there on the side, transferring it to the bottom. And then look at this. So this, if I turn this over, I need to turn this over and bring it to this side now, right? If I want to be in the correct order of keys. This is really easy to mix up the key order when you do this, so you have to pay really careful attention that you don't. Mark was kind of having a hard time with that. He was helping me with this. And so let me show you how these lines match up real quick. And then these just go straight over here. Now my keys should be in the correct order, just upside down, okay? I'm going to take, here, let me get my tripod in a better spot here. I'm going to take this here and zoom in. You can already kind of see those marks, but I want to show you how they line up nicely and how we would kind of set this up to make those marks. You'll see, a lot of times you'll see on an upright piano, there's a pencil mark here underneath that the original, the manufacturer or the key maker did just to keep the keys in order. If they ever got spilled and there were no numbers on top, these lines will match up when the order is correct. So that's kind of one thing. If you ever happen to get your keys out of order and the numbers are not correct, look and see if they made a pencil line there. But we made pencil lines obviously for a different reason. And you'll see that also in pianos. You'll see colored lines just like what I've done to get a general leading pattern that should work. Okay, so now all these keys are totally flush. So now when you look down on here, you can see we've got the blue is, okay, this key doesn't go to this section. Okay, that's why it's off there. It's part of the next section. Key number 58 should actually be over there maybe, or maybe not. Let's see. What do we have here? Oh, it's because it's a sharp. Okay, so you have to distinguish the difference between the sharps, the black notes. They had separate lines, and they'll look funny now because they're spread out, but when we had them clamped together, it located in the correct place. Okay, so see this red line? That's a big lead, 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 and so on for the sharps. These are the naturals. They needed two leads, a big lead in back and a little one in front, and it followed this pattern, and then it jumped a little bit, and then we're going to put a big lead across them, and then we have a little lead again for the remaining notes of that scale. Remember, this is backwards, right? So this is the bass, and it moves to the treble. So as the hammers got lighter, things had to get heavier in order to, because the hammer wasn't heavy enough to push the back of the key down, right? So we had to add more lead where the hammers were lighter. So it's kind of backwards from when you add lead to the front of the keys to even things out. But anyway, that's kind of what we're dealing with. So hopefully that was helpful to see. And I'm going to go ahead and bring you up to the drilling here, where we can kind of see things a little better. All right, so yeah, so hopefully that's good. Okay, so now I've got, looks like I missed a call. Let me just check something really quick. I'm streaming and working at the same time. I'm sure you don't mind. I actually do have to make some money as well, you know what I mean? So, all right, let's bring this stream back up. Great, okay. So now with this flat block, I just want to drill to the point where the drill bit just pokes through, and maybe a little bit more so we get all the way through the key. So probably right about there is all. So I'm going to set my stop on the drill here so that now it's just going to stop there and not cut all the way through, okay? And then I've got my air just to clean things up, right? I'm going to make sure my air compressor's on. Make sure it's turned on so that it'll keep air flowing as I need. Okay, and we're good there. Okey-doke. All right, so we're doing this preliminary work now so that we can get moving on things as we tomorrow as we go to regulate the piano. Number one, key number one, notice there's no lead, no marking. The wood is so thick here, it had a lot more weight, okay? If we find we need to add something, we can add it, but it'll be different than the rest. It won't follow that same leading pattern that we were striving for. Now, I don't really need to pay attention to whether it's a sharp or a natural now. I just know if I see a blue line, I'm going to drill a small hole right above that centered on the key, okay? So I'm going to take this tape off just now. We don't need it anymore. And so I want the key to be flat. Look, if I try and put it like this, look what happens. It's not flat, right? And my drill stop is not going to work. See that? I need it to be flat where I drill. So the floating block is necessary here so that you can get it just flat and supported where you're drilling. and you can move it around free. It doesn't work well to have a set jigged up spot like on some things. Then all that's left is just to drill through. And you can see that hole goes almost all the way through, but not all the way through, right? So I'm just going to carry on and do these, do all of them just like that. I'm going to take this off as I go because I don't need these sample leads anymore. I'm not worrying about putting a specific lead on these or anything. It's not that level of detail of weighting. I'm just going small or large, which I think honestly is fine for most cases, just fine. Now I always forget this. I want the drill press at an angle to me so that I'm not spraying myself in the face with air, but I also want to be able to reach this so I can pull it down easy. But there, now it's not going to be spraying me right in the face. So again, I just look for the blue line underneath. Just look for centering there. And go for it. See, these bits cut so nicely into that wood. It's so easy. It doesn't matter if one key is a little thicker than another. I have my stop set according to the bottom where it rests. So the base section didn't need much lead at all, just small leads here and there. Because the base hammers are a lot bigger, they're a lot heavier. So this leading should be sufficient for everything to work really smoothly once we finish this. If one key, for whatever reason, is a little sluggish or doesn't return quite as well, it's probably an issue with friction, but we're going to address the friction all the way across as well by sizing the key a certain way, okay? Okay, now I need to turn these over. Make sure I don't get them out of order. Still got blue lines here. Oh, one of the reasons I like to drill it out this way where it doesn't punch all the way through the key is it's easier to swedge it, and also it doesn't split out the key at the bottom. I just like this. I think it's cleaner. I'm just eyeballing center, the top, and centered top to bottom, okay, so. Okay, now I've got a red line here. I gotta make sure I don't drill that with the small one, right? I think I'm gonna just keep these sectioned right here, a break right here, so I know that that's where the big leads start, because I'm pretty sure there's no red lines up to that point, which makes sense. All the heavy hammers. Yeah, so I think we're just fine there. Okay, so I know that these are done being drilled. That'll be a nice way to remember that. And then I'm just going to look for any blue lines. My first blue line is here's one on this sharp. Okay, so I only have one blue line on this sharp. Now I don't need to do every key because these are all red. So I can just quickly check the bottom and know where it switches to blue. And that's red. Just you gotta really check yourself here. It's nice that we are streaming this together because I can kind of talk it out loud. That helps me not make a mistake. That's red. There's blue. Okay. And if I do this right, I shouldn't think that it would compromise the strength of the key any, or to the degree that would be a problem. Occasionally you'll come to a broken key on an upright, and it'll happen right where someone's drilled a lead because the wood was thinner there. I don't think that's going to happen on this piano. If it did, you could simply re-glue that. Maybe even do a repair and sand into the key, add sides to the key that would then be flush, and then sand it. That would be fine if you ran into that. Oftentimes though, just gluing it and clamping it well with wood glue is enough to keep it operating just fine. That's a red. That's a blue. Hi, Jeffrey. Good to have you. Okay, there we go. We're almost done with the key set as far as these blues are concerned. I'm calling them blues. There's the small leads. I just made the marks in blue for fun. But like I say, with most pianos, even if they have a problem where the back of the key doesn't go down all the way, boy, it's rarely do I have to make this much of a change, and rarely is it all the way across the whole piano. Most often it's just, you know, here or there. And I checked the friction on it. It wasn't that bad, actually, so I don't think it's just some odd friction thing. I think it was just, it's not that well made of a piano, to be honest. But it doesn't mean it can't be made into a great piano to have fun on. Blue. Okay, now we're at the last key that doesn't need anything. We'll shut down the drill and switch sizes and keep going from there. All right, here we are. Could we be so lucky I don't have to move the drill table or anything? But I probably will have to change the stop a little bit, so you have to remember to do that. And, you know, you might, well, it's a very easy thing to forget, right? Guess what? The stop works too. How could we be so lucky? Well, I'll tell you how. We just shoved that drill bit at the same amount as the other one. Okay, now I know where the reds start, and I will just double check. Always good, double, triple check things. Sometimes you can avoid some big mistakes that way working on pianos. Just making sure there's no red marks that I've missed. Obviously this wouldn't be a huge mistake if we just missed one, but you could get into a situation that would be a problem for sure. Let's change the speed of the drill just a touch. We're going to change the RPMs to 1325. Just a notch slower here on our gears. Okay. There's 1325. Tension that. It's a lot slower, but we're drilling a large hole. So I guess I'll just squeeze back through here. Okay, now we got a bunch of red holes to drill. But it should go faster, not as many. Now these are bigger. I have to pay more attention that I like where I'm putting that hole, because there's going to be a lot less wood on the outsides, you know. You know what? I don't like this speed, this drill speed. Actually, doesn't feel right. The feed rate doesn't feel right. I should be able to go faster than that. We're kind of skating on thin ice where we're putting these. But again, I think it'll be plenty strong enough. And if I'm wrong, I'll come up with a solution, but I think I'm right. Okay, the drill's fine. I think I could drill faster without an issue, but I'm gonna have to be really careful swedging these, because it is right in just the wrong spot of where I would want to drill, unfortunately. These ones aren't so bad. These sharps, they're a little closer there. Boy, I would love to just be able to see two angles at once here on this. So we have a few people tuning in here. You know, feel free to say something on the chat if you have any questions or anything. Look at that. This is a don't try this at home kind of a weighting job. And I know I've said that before. So take caution. Maybe I'll just say that much. You know, I don't have any bigger leads than this. I think you could maybe get some, but you know, to try and, if you were trying to drill further out from this skinny part of the key, but you know, I'm noticing they intentionally thinned the back of these keys to get the height they want or what, I don't know, but it could have used that weight on it for the weight design of it. Hey, if you're just joining, welcome to the bonus hour. We're working on this upright. Trying to get this right where I want it here. There we go. Okay. The other thing nice about a Forstner bit with that point in the middle, I can tap the drill and see where it's going to go without committing totally. Just kind of a nice thing using it. And here we said to put a key right at this bend. That's weird. All right, folks, we are just about on the home stretch of this, drilling the holes here. No questions or comments, new ones anyway, on the chat. But I really don't mind your comments or questions. Tonight's kind of chill for me. I'm just working, and this doesn't take too much brains right now. You know, if there's anything in particular you want to see close up or anything like that, I'm happy to oblige. Getting a nice wood chip shower tonight. I could wear like something, but I don't like it. It's restricting and hot. Some of these holes are crazy scary close to the edge of the wood, but I'm doing it anyway. Okay, that's it for our holes. Now we want to get some lead in there. I'm gonna get my box of lead and my swedging thingy, my bobby. Here we are. It's always the last place you look, right? So this swedger has a little pattern on the end, if you haven't seen this. And you can pound it, whatever, but I like to press it. So I'm going to chuck it up in the drill, and I'll just use the pressing action of the drill press to easily swedge my leads and hopefully not have to do any repairs on these keys where the hole was too close to the edge. So we don't need to use the spinning operation of the drill at all. Might be best and safest to unplug that, but you know, it'll be fine. I'm going to use the light. The light will be to my advantage here. Now I need to lower my table just a bit. I'm not used to doing this left-handed. Let me switch around here. Okay, same thing. Just get it close to the workpiece. It'll be easier to work with. And here I've got plenty of motion to pack that lead down. So let me get my box of leads. Okay, just going to put it in easy reach here. And we're just going to do whatever the key asks for. If there's a hole there, we're going to fill it with the correct lead. This one's a piece of cake, just a little swedgeroo, and there we have it. You know, it's not going to come out, so it makes that pattern in the lead. It's kind of nice looking. I've thought, and I said in another stream that I thought, well, it'd be fun to, be really great to just get like a company logo swedge. That would be fun, but I don't know who could make me one. But anyway, okay, just a little swedge. You don't want any lead hanging out the side to interfere with the neighbor keys, that's for sure. Okay. And I would rather have it be a little on the looser side for these because some of the holes are so fragile. This pressing action of the drill, though, is quite, you know, it's quite robust. Okay. And this is a fun job. I enjoy this kind of thing, just pushing lead into piano keys, and it's going to make a difference. In that this piano will actually work. Oftentimes the people who play older uprights or like this, are children, young children who are just learning how to play. And their technique, as you get older, you might learn technique that kind of helps you adjust to pianos that aren't set up well, so that you can still make music regardless of the piano. But a younger child, they maybe haven't built some of those techniques in from experience, lack of experience, that is. And they might, for instance, we played through this piano this morning, and Mark was like, well, it repeats kind of well, and it's not so bad, But also his technique is a lot more advanced. He's played a lot more pianos in his life. The way this was set up before, without this weighting, if we went to try and regulate it, first of all, it'd be a terrible regulation. It wouldn't be very consistent. And we would find that if there was a child playing it, I guarantee I would get a complaint. If I sent it to a home, I'd get a complaint very shortly saying, the keys won't play more than twice. They get stuck. They're not repeating. The alternative is to set the piano in such a way that I'm pretty sure that would have been the case on this piano. That's what would have happened. Pretty sure. I think I'm going to plug my phone into the charger so I can stay on the stream here because I'm getting kind of low on battery. Just 1 second. No comments on the chat, huh? No questions. Everyone just kind of soaking it in. Let's see here. Grab my phone charger. See if that'll stay in for us. See if it'll cooperate here. There we go. Now I'm charging and everything. Look at that. Charging. I can see the display. We're not to the scary ones yet. These are still the not scary ones. So you might just want to stay on the stream to see if I have a big mess to clean up after attempting this. I hope not. But if so, I'll deal with it. So after I press these, I'm going to want to do just a quick sanding with a little scrap of paper on the sides to get rid of, you know, the wood split chips. I don't know what you'd call that, wood something that's out of the way, because we don't want it to rub on the keys next to it, because it will. These keys are really close together. We've seen it. That was interesting. I'm going to push that one back a little bit the other way. It bulged out a little bit much on that side. If I put it right on here, let's see if we do any better with that. Yeah, we're good. Okay. These are all still pretty safe. Still want to be careful though. Every once in a while I just test like that. Okay, now we're in a big lead here. Slightly scary territory here. Just want to push it just enough to keep it in there. See, that's not enough. It's in just a bad spot too. I can't really support it underneath very well, or as well. Let's see. There. That's in there okay. And let's see if it splits out this side. I can always just tuck it back in just a tiny bit and it'll still be stuck in the wood. Pretty scary. I'm shaking in my safety goggles here. But what were we to do? We needed to get the piano working. I'm just kind of thinking out loud with you here. Okay. Good. Oh, no, not good, not good. You know what we might try? That one punched through the wood on the other side. That's not a big deal. The big deal is just that it's not, this hole is a little bit bigger relatively to these leads, and I have to swedge a little more to get it to fit tightly. You know, you might say, well, why don't you just hot glue it in there? I'm very, very tempted to just hot glue it into this key to make it work. I'm going to think about that while I'm still doing the not the scariest ones here. Think about that as an option. Honestly, I don't have any aversion to that. The glue should, we've seen the glue give up a little bit, but what it'll do is it'll just be a little bit of a gap filler to help tighten things a little more on this key. But otherwise, I don't think I can get it tight enough, because when the hole's so close to the edge, what happens is it just kind of flexes that edge out and doesn't clamp tight, okay? Well, that's tight enough, but I think we got lucky. And again, that's not the worst one yet still. So I'm still thinking about the hot glue. Seriously consider it. Any votes from the peanut gallery? What do you say? What do you think? Any aversions to using hot glue in this case? These big ones I'm checking a little more because, like I said, they have to be swedged a little more. All right. Just want to make sure we're getting them tight. Okay, here's one that's, again, not the worst, but it's pretty close. But if I catch any wind of, you know, key breakage, here we have a small one. It's been a while since we did a blue one here. There we go, and a red to boot. Okay, that's good. No opinions on hot glue, huh? Pretty soon I'm going to have to decide. Like this next one here, this hole on this one's really close to the edge. I'll show you a close up. This is pretty darn close to that bottom edge, right? We'll see how this one goes. If I break one, I'll switch methods. Let's try that. That one's had some hot glue on it from the testing. Okay. Small lead. Large lead. This hole's not so bad where it is. I don't mind that. Small lead, large lead. Yet again. Not only is are these leads kind of close to the edge, to the end of the key, they're right where there's a bend in the key. You don't want to put lead there if you can avoid it. But again, we didn't have a whole lot of choices with this one that were practical. Super important to get these swedged in flush or below flush to the key. If you have one that sticks up, you can kind of mash the swedger around the perimeter here and get it flush. There we go. Of course, if when we get things together we're experiencing any issues or hint of friction there, we would look to here's a possibility of where it might be rubbing for sure. Okay, let's do this. That one wasn't so bad. You know, I'm kind of feeling positive. We're not too far from the end here. Famous last words. Yep, good, good, good. Again, I'm just mashing the edges of this now a little bit around the perimeter because it wasn't quite flush. All right. Okay. I'm not joking when I said I was shaking in my safety goggles here. I am kind of shaking. That hole's not very deep. We're right near the edge of the wood. I have to swedge it flush. It's not easy to do, but I think I might have got it. Look, that's good. And there's not really a hint of, oh, it's going to break out or anything. So we move on. We keep going. Ugh. Little lead, big lead, little lead, big lead. So I'm going to be at the drill press here tonight for a little bit. After this project here, putting these leads in, I'm going to work on, I'm going to take a dinner break, and then I'm going to work on a new back action to the 1800s Kanabe we're redoing. And that's going to be requiring drilling it's an aluminum rail. We have to drill all the holes that those parts go in. Okay, this is not a very deep hole right here. I'm questioning whether we'll be able to get this guy in here. There we go. Let's see, we got him. Just carefully swedging around the perimeter here. Really carefully, just mashing, mashing. And if I needed to, I can run the edge of this on the belt sander for clearance with its neighbor key. You see, I had to mash that one quite a bit around the perimeter just to get it close to flush. So hopefully that'll be just fine. We'll find out later. All right. I thought I remembered some more scary ones than this. So either they weren't as scary as I thought they were going to be, or we just haven't hit them yet, but we only have a handful of keys left. So that's good news. Because when I decided to put these size leads in where we did, I thought I was okay. Looked okay before on my first assessment. I think what it is when I'm drilling from down here and I look across, this looks a lot closer to that edge than it is. Maybe that's what we're dealing with there. Okay, this one's got to be mashed a bit. Yep, there we go. Okay. Trying to think if I have any inspirational anecdotes tonight. Nothing's coming. Nothing's coming tonight. That crunching noise you hear is definitely the lead, you know, expanding and kind of crunching the softwood fibers around the hole, but nothing like a split or a break or anything. Okay, if you're wondering. Well, actually, that one's a little bit of a split, but it's not a split that would break the key or anything. It just puffed out a little bit too much through the other side, but I can just tuck it back in with that, and we're all good. Okay. Molto bene. Okay. Getting a little braver on these, maybe too brave. This one's really close to the top edge of this key. I think I remember drilling this and thinking, whoops. But I think it'll be fine. That's just great. Just fantastic. You'll see the ads creep up during the programming here, and I do have some settings I can set, and hopefully nothing inappropriate or disturbing shows up while I'm programming here. I think I've got the settings right for that. Let me know if there is, and I'll try and go in and block something if you'd rather, you know, whatever. I run the ads. I mean, I'm hoping for a few cents or dollars here, honestly. I'm just producing this content out of our own pocket here, but you know, don't get any like ideas like we're making a ton of money off these ads. We're not. Just look on YouTube. It's not. You don't get much. I mean, unless you're getting like millions of views, right? So I think I've mentioned before that my preferred model is that I might be able to provide you with a tool or some knowledge, free knowledge, and how to. You can buy a tool or a setup or a jig or something from us and support us that way, or if we have a product that we're kind of endorsing as affiliates that I think is useful to you who are working on pianos, you know, then I'll introduce that. Okay, that one's been done. That one's been done. Wow, we're coming down home stretch here. It's looking good. Looking really good. I'm really pleased that we haven't broken anything. Okay, there's that. This one's pretty close to edges. Don't push our luck here. Just keep swedging, minding my own swedging business. Okay, that's pretty good. All right. Okay. Okay, we got it. Looks great. Flush and everything. Okay. Yeah, and I'm not even making any money on this job. Working on this piano is just solely for teaching purposes. For the guys that work with me and friends that are in that are in this field around the area here. And there we go. Now I've done it. That one's split. That one's split. So what are we going to do about it? First of all, I'm going to back him out just a little bit. See, look, I'm like 3 keys from the end. I got cocky. I wasn't careful enough. And I put that hole in the wrong place. So what I want to do here is build this up with some glue and leave it overnight with everything, and it should be fine. So I'm going to soak some glue up into that, just wood glue in this case. Here we are. This glue is a glue that we use for pin blocks and structural things in the piano. It dries really hard, but it's really strong glue. I'm just going to flood the area around the lead with this, and I'm going to press that in with pressure of my finger. And that should hopefully sure it up enough. I'm going to get in all the cracks, crevices. 24 hours of dry time. This should be just fine, I hope, right? Okay. If it's not fine, then we do a repair, and we'll do that. We'll deal with that. We'll cross that bridge if we have to, right? So you can't really tell, but I've just squished glue into there everywhere, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and put a clamp on that. I don't know that the clamp's going to do much other than it'll just make me feel better. But we'll see. I'm going to wipe off my hands. All right. Okay. I'm just going to get a little spring clamp for now, and then I might switch that out in a few minutes when I need, because I think I need the spring clamp for my next project. But I'm just going to clamp that pressure there in the hopes of keeping that tail from dropping and bending or weakening any further that direction. The spring clamp's not a huge amount of force, but we'll just leave that sitting there. And now I will be more humble and cautiously finish the last few keys. This one's not a scary one. That's a sharp. The last 2 keys, to be precise. There we go. Got a little lead and a big lead. This hole is really close to the top, so I want to focus my swedging more toward, I want to go in the middle first, but then I want to focus some swedging down towards the bottom more and sides, just kind of catching that in that hole without having to expand the top of it out like what happened on the last one, and it split out. I'll show you there. See, that one's really tight up to the top too, right? I could have drilled that one better. But I don't think anything's lost. I think we're okay. Just gonna keep mashing that in a bit. Carefully, carefully. Check the tightness. Voila. Okay, so we're gonna let key number 85 dry in the clamp for a bit. But other than that, you're going to be slightly disappointed maybe that I'm not going to like put everything back together, and you're going to see how it feels and all that today. That's going to be tomorrow. But we do have all those leads in there, right? All on the backs of those keys. You can see them poking through. I'm going to sand a little bit. In fact, I'm going to do that. But look at this. This needs to be cleaned out. We've got some stuff in there. Cleaned out. We'll lubricate the pins. There's our tip. And then we'll start into getting it ready to regulate. But let me just grab some sandpaper before I forget, and we're just going to sand these keys here. And I'm just going to use some 80 grit scrap paper if I find it. For that, I'm going to have to go where we keep scrap sandpaper. It looks like all the way over here. Okay, there we go. 80 grit. So how's everyone doing tonight? I mean, how's everyone feeling about things you're seeing? Curious to know. Hey, if you have any suggestions for future content, you know, that might be something to solicit from you. The top, who knows where the top to my glue bottle fell? It's a red cap. Ah, here we go. Here it is. Everyone's just super quiet there on the old chat. Okay. All right, here's some glue. Now I'm just going to take these that have been drilled and just make sure that there's nothing sticking out on the side. That's all. And the sandpaper will also sand the edges of the lead a little bit if it's sticking out at all. And I can just be quick about this. So that's why I said, boy, am I connected to the chat? Yeah, maybe just everyone's kind of doing their own thing while they're kind of listening. That's just fine, too. No worries. Just want to open the invite for you to participate if you want to. I'll show you, some of these are really kind of have wood, just kind of looks yucky all over there. So doing this just cleans up the look quite a bit there. So look, this one, that could definitely be a clearance problem if you see those wood fibers on there. This one's not swedged very well. You see how it's sitting out there? I was scared on that one. I'm gonna just swedge around the edge. Swedge around the edge there a bit. See if we can get that guy to sit down in there. I'm not sure what I thought on this one, why it ended up that way, but okay. There, that's much better. Much better there. Same thing on this one. I think what it is I was so worried about it, you know, getting messed up that I was a little more cautious. And then I realized after a while, oh, I can just go around the edges of this and it'll kind of lock that in place. Even just sticking, this swedger has a little point in the middle. Even just sticking that down in the lead does something to make it tighter in its hole. There's our broken key. Switch this one in a little bit. No, you know what? It's flush. Sandpaper did it. This one I'm going to swedge in a little more on the edges there, I think. Okay. It's pushing my luck a little bit on that one. Should have left it alone. Started to crack a little bit on the top, but I think we're still okay. This is just a repetitive task here. I always say to myself, where are the guys when I'm doing stuff like this? It never seems to line up right with when they're around, but I probably just feel that way. Not that I'm above doing this. I'm happy to do this kind of work. I'll do anything. It's just if I can find any task that someone who's learning can do and help generate revenue for the shop while I'm also doing the same with what I'm, you know, with something else at the same time, that's great. Okay, that's it. Okay, that's it for these. I am going to take a dinner break and come back and work on that back action. I'll open up another stream if you're around and you're interested in what goes on with that. You're welcome to join. And yeah, meanwhile, stay cool. We'll see how these keys turn out tomorrow.